28 Days Later. It's a 2002 horror film that was directed by Danny Boyle, and the plot is, at the very beginning, we meet this animal rights activist group who are breaking into this lab because they want to set free these monkeys, these chimpanzees who are being experimented on. But what they don't know is that they're all infected. Infected with what? This virus called Rage. And as soon as they break one out, they get bit, and it doesn't take long for them to turn. We skip ahead 28 days later, and that's where we meet Jim, who is played by Cillian Murphy. And he wakes up in a hospital after being in a coma. So he has no idea what's happened or what's been going on in this town. He goes out and he sees the streets are deserted, that the place is trashed, until he eventually realizes that it's this virus and infected people everywhere. He meets up with this girl, Selena. They meet up with Frank and his daughter, Hannah, and the group of them just try to survive this, basically, apocalypse. Now, what I think of 28 Days Later is, I love this movie. I do. I would say this is one of my favorite zombie movies. I say that with a question mark because there's been a age-long debate, I feel like, with this movie. Is it a zombie movie? Is it not? I don't know. There's a part of me that does think it is, and then there's another part of me that thinks, well, they're not really zombies. They're infected people. It's a virus. And I think when I think of any type of realistic zombie apocalypse, I don't think it would be the dead coming back from the graves. I don't even think it would be people dying and coming back. I would think that if anything like this would ever happen, it would be like this. It would be a virus that either comes from a different country, comes from animals, or just happens. And it just starts wiping us all out. The thing that sucks about this, though, is that not only do you have maybe 10 seconds after getting bit, or even if you have any infected blood go in your mouth, go in your eyes, as soon as it touches your system, you're gone. Like, you barely have a chance to even think about it before you're turned. And that's what's creepy, especially too when you see infected people and it's just, they're not coherent. There's nothing to them. They just have all of this rage. They don't even have a need to feed or eat. They just beat you down and pound on you and rip you apart. It's pretty intense. Whenever I see them running around, there's so many scenes. Like at the beginning when you see Cillian Murphy and he's roaming the streets. First of all, seeing England look the way that it does. I don't know how Danny Boyle was able to get these streets emptied out like this and make the whole place look deserted, but it looks amazing. It definitely sets up and create that atmosphere, and it puts you into his mindset of being confused, of not really knowing what's going on, or at least it puts you in that whole idea of, fuck, what if I was him? What would I do? How would I react? What would I be thinking? And even the moment, getting back to the infected people, the moment where he goes into that church, he sees the pile of bodies, and then he starts getting chased by the preacher and a bunch of other people. Selena and Mark, when they start throwing fire bottles at the infected people and they're still running on fire, it's just like, shit, do these fuckers ever die? But that's where we meet Selena, played by Naomi Harris, and I really like her character. It doesn't take her long before she ends up killing her friend or partner Mark, who, once he gets bit, she doesn't even think about it. She takes even less as long before he even turns to kill him. I like that she's so determined, so hard-assed, and so stuck in her ways. It's how she stayed alive for as long as she has. And she seems like she doesn't even care to lose somebody in her group. But then over time, I like when she starts to open up, starts to become a real person, starts to even fall for Jim. Let me talk about Jim, Cillian Murphy. I really like him. This is one of the first movies that I saw him in, so I really connected to his character, being with him from the beginning and him being in his coma and trying to just process everything. You really feel for his character, especially just the moment where the first thing he wants to do, which is totally something I would probably want to do, is go see his parents. Go see if his parents are still alive, still okay. And when he goes to the house and he sees them dead in their bed, and that they killed themselves because they were hoping maybe he wouldn't wake up from his coma, it's such a sad moment. It's amazing that Danny Boyle is able to establish these characters, able to tell us so much about these characters in such a simple way. It's such a character moment. There's so many moments like that. When we meet the characters, Frank and his daughter Hannah, I really like them, not just because they have heavy, thick British accents. I don't know what it is. I think I have a weird obsession with the British accent. I think I've always wanted one, just because, I swear, you can have that accent and you could talk about some of the most dumb, mundane things ever, and you still sound like the smartest person in the room. But not only that, I like them because Frank, especially, when you meet him, he's instantly welcoming, greeting, he wants to help these two. And I like the fact that he has a plan. He has a goal. He's hearing these military radio signals, thinking that maybe there are survivors out there, there is a place to go. So that's what he wants to do. And when you see them go on that sort of road trip, there's one moment where they get stuck in a tunnel. Their tire flattens, and that scene is so intense. I'm sitting here, I've watched this movie so many times over the years, but rewatching it right now, I'm still sort of jumping in my seat. I'm slapping my legs. I'm getting so into it, and my heart's racing. I'm like, dude, you've seen this already. You know how it plays out. But that's a testament to this movie and just how it instantly gets me in the moment. I think John Murphy's score helps with that. It's so intense at times. It's so visceral, and just it really gets me in those high moments. But not only that, there's also moments where it's calming. It's soothing. When I bought the score to this movie, I listened to this one track where it's one of the most warm, calming themes that you've ever heard. I really, really enjoy this film. I can't say much more good things about it. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you've seen 28 Days Later. What do you think of it? And also let me know if you consider this a zombie movie. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Later!